everybody, it's Bo with Kash Designs. In this video, we're going through the entire hoarder house from start to finish. First thing we had to do was clean out the house. The stairs was a big project because we had to get to the upper level. To get to the rest of the house, it's a split level house, which means you go in the front door, which is right below the camera here. You can either go up the stairs or down the stairs right when you get in the house. There's 2 beds and 1 bath on the upper level, along with the kitchen. And then in the lower level, there's 1 bathroom and a laundry room and a big family room. This is the upstairs bedroom, smaller bedroom. This was the easiest room in the whole house to clean out because there just wasn't that much stuff relative to the other rooms. I had a couple of friends that were nice enough to come help me out, otherwise I don't know how long it would have taken me on my own. You can see in the upper right corner of the video I have a little tracker so you can see how long we are in the project. It took us about 17 weeks total, and the cleanup alone took a little over a week. This is the master bedroom. You can see underneath all that mess is actually a water bed. It keeps jiggling back and forth whenever we step on it. And then outside you can see that's our dumpster setup. So we've got 2 dumpsters backed up right to the house, and that's actually right outside this window here. We would just fill up a garbage can, throw it out the window, and then we had tied ropes to the bottom of the can, and we'd pull it back in once it had emptied out into the dumpster. I did the math, and you can fit 125 of the garbage cans into 1 dumpster, and we filled up about 9 20-yard dumpsters total, so that's a lot of garbage cans. Here's the upstairs bathroom. You can see that the previous owner had been using the shower curtain rod as just a closet, basically, hanging up his clothes. This was probably the most gross room in the whole house, and somehow I didn't even have to really clean out any of it. My friends just jumped right in and went for this room. I was on the outside throwing garbage cans into the dumpster for them. There was a lot of newspaper in this room that had gotten wet, probably from showering and whatever throughout the years, and it had kind of solidified. It was almost like a cement brick in some spots. And there was a little bit of mold, but nothing too bad. Here's the kitchen. As you can see, there's garbage all the way up to the countertop level, pretty much everywhere. The fridge, surprisingly enough, was full of food that wasn't even spoiled yet. Somehow the owner had been using the fridge still. I don't know how he was able to get it open, but the food that was in there wasn't all that old. The previous owner had passed away a few months before we bought this house. My realtor, a friend of mine, knew of this house when it was for sale, wasn't on the MLS, and he knew I was looking for a house to flip, and so he told me about it, and I met with the attorney that was representing the previous owner and crawled through it to see what I thought and decided to buy it. That was in April of 2020 when we bought it. And we got it all fixed up and eventually got it rented out in August of 2020. Here we are back in the living room in the entryway camera. The order of how we cleaned things out was we cleaned out the stairs first, and then we worked our way over to the bedrooms, and then the bathroom, and then the kitchen, and then did the living room last. And that's because we had to do the bedrooms first, because that's how we were able to get to the windows to throw the garbage cans out into the dumpster. There was a couch that we just carried out. You could barely even see that was there until we uncovered it. I think there's a chair hidden in here somewhere still, underneath that mound of clothing on the railing. The house didn't really have a whole lot of trash or anything perishable in it, surprisingly. It was like all stuff. It was a lot of clothing and a lot of just like magazines and DVDs and random like things you just go buy, like model cars that are still in the box and things like that. Just kind of a lot of junk, but it wasn't anything. It wasn't just trash. And you can't really tell super well from the videos, but once we got all the junk cleaned off, the carpets and flooring in the whole house was actually in really good shape. And that's because they had probably been covered up with stuff for over 20 years, because the previous owner, he'd owned the place for, I think it was about 30 years before we bought it. And I know it had taken him a long time to accumulate this amount of stuff. This is in the basement living room area. This room wasn't so bad either, because you could see the floor in some spots, so you're at least able to walk on the floor. There I found a cardboard cutout of a lady, set her up to help me for the day. Like I said, cleanup took a little over a week. And I think I added up, I keep track of all my hours, and it was about 110 man hours. So if you add up all my time plus the time I got help from my friends. This is the bathroom downstairs. You couldn't even see, but there was a toilet and vanity right there, obviously not in use. And behind the door there is a stand-up shower that also was not being used, and a washer and dryer. Here we are getting the demo started. This is on week 2. Just some vinyl floor that came off pretty good, and then took down the cabinets. Cabinets were in good shape, but personally I don't like reusing old cabinets, even if they are in good shape, because we like to do white cabinets, and I really don't like painting cabinets. It's just a pain, and I don't love how they turn out, but each their own. Now we're taking out the carpet in the living room. I wish, in hindsight, we would have waited a little bit to do that. As you'll see in a bit here, I scraped off the popcorn ceiling texture, and I wish I would have just waited to do the carpet until I had done the ceiling texture, and it would have made cleanup a lot easier for that. Here I'm marking the wall that we're going to take out between the kitchen and the living room. It's not a load-bearing wall, but there was a bunch of electrical stuff in the wall that came up from the basement. So because of that, we had to leave the bottom half of the wall in place and come up with a little half-wall solution rather than getting rid of it completely and putting an island in the kitchen. You'll see what we ended up doing as a workaround. Otherwise it would have cost a lot of money and taken a lot more time to reroute all of the electrical wires that were in that wall, feeding all kinds of things in the upper level of the house. Down in the basement, Again, same thing as upstairs. Wish I would have waited on the carpet till after we had done the ceiling popcorn, but live and learn. Now here is the popcorn ceiling scraping. For those who aren't familiar, popcorn ceiling is what we call the pokey texture on your ceiling. And it's just more common in older homes, and a lot of people don't like it, so we just spray a little bit of water on the ceiling and go up there with the drywall knife, and usually it comes off pretty good, and then you're left with a nice smooth ceiling that you can just paint right over. Looks a little nicer in the end. Now the demo work is all done, and so everything from here on out is going to be building new stuff into the house. I ended up taking down the railing because it was just falling apart and not in good shape. And rather than build a new railing, we decided to just extend the half wall that was already started there all the way across the stairway and just build half walls with drywall, because it's a little cheaper and easier to do it that way. This is in the lower living room. Like I said, it was a two bedroom, two bath house when we bought it. But after looking at the basement living room, we realized that there was a good opportunity to add a wall right in the middle of it and create a third bedroom in the basement. You can see over in the corner there's already a closet in the new bedroom that was already there, and a window as well. So all we had to do was throw up a wall, put in a door, and add a few outlets and a light switch, and we created a new bedroom, which is definitely worth the money, because as a rental or as to sell the house, adding that third bedroom is a big money maker, and a wall is pretty cheap to put up. Doing drywall now. This is in the new bedroom. See the window on the right, closet on the left. This is the lower living room once the bedroom's in place. It's still a good sized room, and you already have a really nice open living room upstairs, so you don't really need the two giant living room spaces in one house. And this is a 3-bed, 2-bath. It's a twin home in a pretty nice neighborhood, but nothing crazy. So it's a house that'll be worth about between $160 and $190 when it's all said and done, depending on when I sell it. I said we ended up keeping it as a rental for several reasons, and if anyone wants to know the numbers or anything like that, let me know in the comments below, and maybe I'll make a video going over the real estate side of things if people are interested in that. Here I'm mudding the new drywall in the entryway and in the lower bedroom and living room area. I don't really like to do drywall mud, but it's worthwhile to do it if it's just a small project like this, rather than trying to get someone to come in just for a really small side job. All of my construction skills are self-taught from YouTube videos. I don't have a construction background or anything like that. I was a mechanical engineer for a little while, and quit that to flip houses and do some other things. But yeah, if anyone wants to do something like this themselves, I think it's totally achievable. Just gotta find the right videos and put the time in to learn how to do things. Now I'm spraying the ceilings after we scrape the popcorn. Got a paint sprayer, which saved me a ton of time in painting the ceilings. Now this is my wife here that's painting the walls. She likes to paint, and I really don't like to paint. That's one of my least favorite jobs, so we're a good partnership that way. She does a good job. The paint we use is a Sherwin-Williams paint. It's a gray of some sort, I don't remember the name. What we like to do is just buy the same color paint for the entire house. Then you just have to buy 1 or 2 5-gallon buckets, depending on the size of the house, and you don't have to worry about remembering which paint goes in which room, and makes it a lot easier for, well, you save on rollers and brushes. You don't have to get multiple ones of those. But then also in the future for touch-ups or anything like that, you have your leftover 5-gallon bucket, and you can use that same paint to touch up anywhere in the whole house. A lot of people have commented on previous videos that the walls look too dark, and I just think that the camera doesn't show exactly what it looks like in real life. It's not overly dark in real life. It's pretty bright and open in all the rooms, and it works well. Now we're about halfway through the entire project. We're on week 9. We're putting up cabinets in the kitchen. A lot of people have commented on my kitchen video asking why we didn't paint behind the cabinets, and to be honest, I never even put a second of thought into why you would paint behind the cabinets, because you're never going to take the cabinets down, and if you are, you're more than likely going to be repainting the whole kitchen, or already have at that point. So I don't quite know why people want that to be painted, but maybe in the future I'll paint behind there just for the YouTube fans. We do like to paint between the upper cabinets and lower cabinets. Even though we're going to do a backsplash here, we always like to paint just in case we run out of time or money and then decide that we don't want to do a backsplash. Well, then it's already painted, so we don't have to try to paint when everything's already up and in place, and it just saves a lot of time and potential headache if we don't do a backsplash. Here we are cutting the countertop here. Went with a laminate. Like I said, in this neighborhood, it's a nice house, but using granite or any stone countertops would not be justified based on the other houses in the neighborhood and the total value of the house. It just makes more sense to use laminate, and laminates are pretty good these days. They look nice, they hold up well. It is a little bit tricky to get these bigger pieces cut and joined with just one person, but use a few sawhorses and you can figure out how to do it. Now it's time to put the cabinet doors on. These cabinets come from Menards, which, if you're not from the Midwest, that's like a cheaper version of Home Depot or Lowe's. They also have Home Depot and Lowe's around here too, but Menards, they have a good line of cabinets that they make themselves. The boxes come pre-assembled like you saw, and then you just screw them up on the wall, and then you get your pick of doors, door color. We like to go with white. You just buy the doors, and they give you the hardware, and then just screw right in. And they're nice because they're big, they're sturdy, and all of the doors and drawers are soft close, so you can open them and slam them shut, and they don't slam because the soft close stops them, so that's nice. Now here I'm starting the backsplash between the cabinets. This is just a ceramic mosaic tile. They come in 12 by 12 inch sheets. And you just put the mortar up on the wall and stick them in place. Then I'll have to go back and grout a day or two later once it's all dried. Adding a backsplash is another project that I think is worth the money. It adds quite a bit of curb appeal to the kitchen itself. You choose the right colors, and depending on what you choose, it's full backsplash. If you do it yourself, you're looking at $200 to $300, so it's not very expensive, and it adds a lot to the kitchen, in my opinion. Now I'm going through and drilling holes and putting on the cabinet poles, which are an oil rubbed bronze color. They're nice and dark, which makes them stand out against the white. Now this is adding the grout to the backsplash. Here we are in the upstairs bathroom. Apologize for the weird shadows in the video here. Something about my camera and the LED light I have there they don't like each other for some reason. I'll have to figure out what that issue is on future videos. But first thing we did is put the tub in, and then I'm putting up backer board so we can tile the tub surround. A lot of people use cement board to do their backer board, but I found this product. It's called Dense Shield. It's sold at all your hardware stores. It's just like cement board, but it's already got a built-in waterproof barrier on the outside. So it's really nice because then you don't have to go, if anyone's used cement board, you have to put the cement board on and then go back over it with like a waterproof membrane. And this stuff, you just put it right up and you're good to go, ready to tile. And it's about the same cost as cement board, so that's what I would definitely recommend for anyone who is tiling a bathroom. The tiles that we're using here are ceramic tile again, and they're big tiles. They're 12 by 24 inch, which is kind of a popular trend right now, but I like to use them just because I think they look good. They're also cheaper per square foot, and they're also easier to put on because you just throw up one tile at a time and it covers almost the whole wall in some areas, versus putting up a bunch of little tiles would just take a lot more time and effort. Tiling the tub surround is one of my favorite jobs. It's something, again, that I learned all through YouTube, just trial and error. I think it adds a lot of value to houses for the amount of money that it costs, compared to just putting in a fiberglass tub surround. If you're doing the work yourself, it's not that much more money to just go with tile, to go with a reasonable tile, and it just takes a few days of your time once you learn how to do the tiling, but it can save you a lot of money and add a lot of value to your house if that's what you're trying to do, which is what we're trying to do. Here I'm tiling the shower nook area so you can have a little area to set your soaps and stuff. It's a little bit extra work, takes some time to get that right, but I think it's well worth it in the end because it just adds more functionality to your shower. Here I am grouting the tile. Again, wife was working, so I had to grout myself. It's not so bad with these big tiles like this because there's just not as many grout lines, but still not my favorite job just because it's messy and I kind of have OCD, so I don't like making messes. I do like watching the time lapse of the grout once I wipe it off. Here, watching it dry is kind of cool. You can see it just kind of creeping back to life on the wall there. Now what I'm doing is I'm taping off all the corners in the shower to add caulking to. You don't want to put grout in any of the corners or any change of directions because over time your grout is just going to end up cracking. So they make a special caulking that matches the grout. You just put that in all the corners. And I like to tape the corners because I am not very good at running a bead of caulking without that. So I tape it, do my caulking, and then pull the tape off while it's still wet, and it ends up leaving a pretty nice clean line most of the time. Here's the flooring in the upstairs bathroom. This is a vinyl plank flooring made to look like the big tiles. Turned out pretty good. It's waterproof. It's easy to put together. Yeah, definitely would recommend something like this in the bathroom. Here's the master bedroom upstairs flooring. And the bedrooms up here, we ended up going with a laminate floor because it was a little cheaper to get per square foot in this case. But to be honest, it's probably one of the last laminate floors I'll ever put in. And that's simply because there's so many vinyl plank floors out there nowadays that are just as good and about the same price. Then they're waterproof, and they're just the same product, but they're waterproof, and they're a lot easier to put together than the laminates are, in my opinion, because laminates, you got to get out your wood saw and all that stuff to cut it, versus vinyl planks. You can just use a utility knife and like a tin snip, so you can pretty much cut anything that you need right there in the bedroom or whatever room you're doing. You can just have all your tools right there with you. It saves you a lot of time versus running down to your saw every time you need to make a cut. Same flooring in the smaller upstairs bedroom. It is a little bit dark of a floor, which maybe for this small room would have been smarter to go with the lighter color, but we wanted to keep it the same as the other room, and it turned out pretty good.
So why is it so hard to let you go?
Now here we are in the lower bathroom. This is the stand-up shower. So it's technically a 3/4 bath. You can see to the left of the shower here is where the washer and dryer hookups are. So it's like a bathroom slash laundry room, but it's really big, good sized, and it's got some laundry cabinets up there that I'll end up painting white as well. It's a pretty narrow, small shower. I think it was a 32 by 32, and ended up getting just a fiberglass shower pan, white one there that you can see. In my opinion, that's just a lot easier and less headache to just buy the pan rather than trying to do your own tile floor. If you can get a standard size pan, it's not very expensive and it saves you a lot of time and effort. It still looks good in the end. I did put another shower nook in this one too, since it's so small. It'd be nice to have a spot to put your soap and stuff. This tile here, I think it is a porcelain, so it's the same, just as easy to work with as a ceramic. And again, it's a big 12 by 24s. This one we went with a lighter color because the shower being so small, I thought it'd feel more open with a light color than if we would have went the same color that we did upstairs. And we ran it up vertically rather than horizontally. That's the first time I've ever done that, and I like the way it turned out. It looks good. One little tip that anyone who might be interested in doing their own tiling is tools, tool selection. I have used a wet tile saw and all the nice tools before. They're expensive, and to be honest, I don't know that they're really all that much. I don't think they're worth it if you're just doing tiling for your own purposes in your own bathroom or kitchen or anything like that. I ended up just getting a tile cutter. It's a way less mess than a wet tile saw, and you can do pretty much anything you need with that and an angle grinder. Just cut your tile that way. Here I'm doing the same method for the grouting and the caulking in the corners with my tape. Went with a lighter grout on this shower to match the tile. Now we're almost done with the entire project, so it's time to put the floor in upstairs. It's always exciting when you get to put the floor in the main areas because that means you're close to done, because you don't want to do that too early, otherwise you're walking over it and scuffing it up or dropping things on it or getting paint on it, things like that. So whenever you get to the flooring time, that's a good sign because it means you're getting close. This floor is a vinyl plank. And the reason we went with vinyl in the living room is because it's going to extend all the way into the kitchen, and you don't want to use a laminate floor in the kitchen unless it's specifically made to be waterproof. But like I said in the bedroom video, I like vinyl planks. I think that's the flooring of the future, if it's not already the main flooring. It's just better. Here we are in the kitchen. Getting around the appliances is always one of the challenges when it comes to installing new floor. I like to use a lot of leftover cardboard from the flooring boxes, especially on the fridge. I've had it happen before where I moved the fridge to get the flooring underneath, and when I pushed the fridge back, it scarred up my brand new floor, and I had to pull out all the floor and redo it. In one case, it had gouged it so bad. So yeah, Always try to protect the new floors when you're moving the heavy appliances, especially. Now we're back down in the basement, and the whole basement we decided to go with a vinyl plank again to go right over the cement floor. This particular floor we've got here, it's got a pre-attached underlayment underneath, little foam pad, so that makes it a lot easier to put in. You don't have to mess around with any foam or anything, and it should keep the floors a little bit warmer than the concrete in the winter time. Now you can see this is the new living room in the basement. Still a good size. Same floors in the bedroom and in the bathroom on the lower level. The whole lower level is all the same flooring, just to make it easier. Putting in a new door for the bedroom. I believe that was the only door we had to buy for the whole house, because other than a front door and a patio door, but only interior door. The other doors were actually in good enough shape. We were able to just sand them a little bit and put some new white paint on them, and they ended up looking good as new. Here's a little extra project we decided to do to just get a little more contrast with all the gray. We love gray, but it does get to be a lot sometimes, so it can be nice to break up the gray with some different colors like brown here, as you'll see. It's a wood pallet wall, shiplap wall, whatever you want to call it. I'm just using what I used as 1/8 inch thick plywood floor underlayment boards. They come in a 4x8 sheet, and you just take that on your table saw and you cut them, rip them to whatever length you need or width you need. I think I cut mine at about 7 or 8 inches wide to get a nice look of a board, and then you just cut them at random lengths and just nail them up to the wall. We did the same thing here in the kitchen around the island. It's not technically an island, but we call it the island. We have a butcher block countertop there. Again, just to change things up a little bit from the gray and black of the rest of the kitchen. One thing I did screw up on is I didn't shake my stain well enough before I stained these boards, so that was me restaining all these boards in place to get them a little bit darker. Now we're doing the entryway stairs, flooring on the stairs. Ended up using just the same vinyl plank floor that I had used on the whole kitchen and living room area, and just cut that to size, and then end up gluing that right down onto the stairs and putting a little nose piece over the top of it, and it turns out pretty good. It's not a super fun project to cut to fit on the stairs because it's pretty precise, and yeah, just not as fun, but has to be done. And then the same flooring we put in the entryway here. I said the front door is just below the camera, so if you come in from outside and you got wet or muddy shoes, this will be a nice waterproof floor. Won't matter how much snow or rainwater you drag in, it'll hold up. I'm putting up trim now, which is signaling the end of the project. It was a long couple of weeks, but definitely a good project. I like to use just white pine, white painted trim for all my molding and base trim. We did decide to add a little coat rack bench area in the entryway since there's no closet here. There is a closet for the other door, but for this front door there's not really a spot to put your shoes or keys or coats or anything like that, so we made this little one there. What I like to do for trim is I go around with a piece of paper and I measure all of my cuts that I need to make and sketch it out on my piece of paper, and then I go down to my garage or wherever my saw is set up and I make all my cuts and I carry them all back into the room, and if I did it right I don't have to make any adjustments or cuts and it saves a lot of time, but it is kind of tricky to get to that point. So that brings us to the end of the video. From here on out, it's just before and after pictures of the whole house. Like I said, it took about 17 weeks to do the whole project. I had about 800 man hours into it. And yeah, it's one of the projects I'm most proud of doing so far. I don't know that I'll ever find something quite like this to begin with. Cool if I did. Make another video of it for sure if I do. Let me know if you guys have any questions or things you want to see more of. If you made it this far, I appreciate it. If you'd like to subscribe to follow along, that would be great. And again, if anyone wants to know more of the real estate side of things on this house, let me know in the comments and I will consider making a video specifically on that, on the numbers on this, what we ended up doing with it, and some of our other houses too, if anyone is interested in that sort of stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and thanks for following along.